Greetings, survivors and friends. SHADOWFRAX here with your weekly hackable crate full of development news, where I can finally answer the question, when console? For you. Well, sort of. But first, please subscribe if you're not already to help the channel grow and stay informed. Before I talk about console news though, over on the staging branch you can currently play with several new items that will be dropping as part of a mandatory update to insert the usual seasonal content on December the 17th at 7 PM GMT. As well as the regular events and changes to things like the supply drop, you'll also be able to get your frosty fingers on at least 4 new types of plaything, some of which will be store items, but not all. Which being something which has yet to be decided, so I can't say exactly yet what will be available to all, what will be paid for, and what will be sticking around for just a limited time. But I'll do my best. To start with, there's a sledge, which is a workbench level 1 item costing 25 frags and 150 wood, and which has 2 skin choices. It can be placed on any ground, but will only work on snow. You idiot. Artificial snow from the snow machine is supposed to work too, but for some reason as I speak these words it's broken. To use one, first make sure you're on a slope, because you can't push it sadly, which is kind of a major feature that's missing there. Then mount it and you should start moving downhill until you either run out of snow, dismount, or wrap yourself around a tree or rock. Apparently you can steer with A and D, but to be honest doing so is about as effective as an inflatable voodoo doll, so I wouldn't bother if I were you. Just accept your grim, snowy fate. Once you reach the depressing inevitability of the bottom of the hill, you can pick your sledge up with a hammer. It has 200 health, but loses 25% of that each time you retrieve it, which just goes to show the state of sledge manufacturing these days. It will also be destroyed if hit with a car. Smashing. Next up, the Snowball gun, or Blizzard Blaster as it's called. Although I think Chiller Killer, Beretta or Eskimosin sounds better personally. Sadly, the team know absolute zero when it comes to puns, but if you're looking to kick some ice, then this reskinned grenade launcher will certainly break it at a party. It uses snowballs, holds 50 at a time, and does 6 damage per shot, but please don't ask for a nerf as it pretty much already is one. You can fire single shots or hold the trigger for rapid fire, and when it comes to buildings, it does 1 damage to twig, but nothing to any of the other tiers. You'll be finding these and the snowballs in presents until the seasonal content is switched off again, so everyone will have access to them. And no, they don't make players wet or cold, okay? They don't make players wet or cold. They don't make players wet or cold. Next plaything is a new type of sign. Neon signs, available in 3 sizes and will cost 125, 150 and 200 metal frags each respectively. Not sure of the workbench level yet. They are electrical items using 3, 5 and 10 power depending on size, and each has a pass-through. You paint on them as normal with a selection of 8 colours, then fire them up for a toasty nighttime glow. Talking of signs, there's a new command for admins and server owners on staging called Upload Sign, which behaves similar to the Sign Artist plugin in that you can look directly at a sign and run the command to upload an image to it. The image needs to be in your root install directory for the client, it needs to be a PNG and the correct dimension for the sign, and you need to specify the full file name including file extension. And lastly, in new items we have ice walls, small and large, but both with spikes and usable in any biome. The small ones cost 300 stones, are workbench level 1, have 200 health and are about 3/4 of a normal wall high. They also stick together like external walls. The large one is basically a reskin of the high external stone wall, costs 1500 stones at a workbench level 2 and has 500 health, so yeah, it's exactly the same. It can be joined up and mixed and matched with its stone counterparts, but no, before you ask, flamethrower do nothing. Immersion shattered. Of course, as with everything new to the game, and indeed old, all the details I've mentioned are naturally subject to change. But of course, I would like to know your most intelligent thoughts regarding what you've just seen, so let us all know in the comments. Oh, and one other thing. Timers on staging can now be set to much more specific durations and can be reduced all the way down to 1/4 of a second. In works in progress, the work cart, HDRP backport, and Happy's Island rescue attempt are all still being plugged away at, but no new images or details to show yet on any of them, sadly. And phones are planned to go push to talk soon, so they won't be broadcasting what you say all the time whilst you're using them, as long as you have the push to talk button set up, of course. This might not make it in with the mandatory patch, or it might be something that comes in January instead. Right, okay, so for months and months and months, you've all been very patient and only occasionally asked whether there's been any news on Rust console. Well, as 2020 is nearly over now, thank goodness, it was looking less and less likely that this would be the year in which you'd be reeing with a controller in your hands. As some of you may have seen, an announcement was made this week by the team at Double 11, who are handling the console version, and no, Facepunch are not doing it themselves, which you may or may not have known, and I'll provide a link to this in the description. The TLDR of it all is that the port to console hasn't been as easy as first anticipated, and coupled with the small matter of a global pandemic for most of the year, it has taken a tad longer than desired. You can console yourself in the knowledge that it is still happening at least, and the hope is that there'll be something more meaningful to share regarding progress in the new year, and of course I'll tell you as soon as I know anything, so hang tight and play something else instead. Oh yes, and Rust is 7 years old apparently. My, how time's flown. Still no pie though, just cake. What do you think of the console news? Tell me all about it in the comments, please. Leave a like and subscribe. Follow me on Twitch for weekly streams, Twitter, Facebook, Discord, and my Steam group to stay up to date with my content, and support the channel by nabbing some sexy merch from my store or becoming a patron, like these incredible chaps here on the right. I shall catch you all soon, of course, but in the meantime, keep calm and stay rusty. Cheerio. This video is powered by AWDIT's producer range of workstation PCs, available now at awdit.co.uk. It uses snowballs, holds 50 at a time, and does 6 damage per shot, but please don't ask for a nurse. Nurse? Don't ask for a nurse, she won't come.